You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is a program called The Wonderful World of Wardini Books, and as always, it's our pleasure to have in the studio the wonderful Lou from Wardini Books in Havelock North. How you going, Lou?
Very well, Ken. Yourself?
Good, you had a busy week?
Yes, always. Can't tell you anything that happened.
No, can you?
All sorts of things.
Yes, it's about gone.
Yeah, God,
Turn around and I'm a year older.
Well, it'll be August. Is that next week?
Yeah, August next week.
Yeah.
And you've been practising Christmas carols shortly.
Always.
I know. 3 more great books to look at, and the first one is called The Runaway Pea.
The Runaway Pea, a picture book by Yarton Poskett and Alex Wilmore. And that's a very happy-looking runaway pea,
I love that
isn't
pea,
it?
yes.
So he starts life on a plate full of veggies at dinner time, and he decides, hang on a minute, I'm not happy with this. And he just decides to ping off the plate. And he goes then from disaster to disaster. So first there is the sauce disaster, and all the other vegetables on the plate laughing at him because you're not going to get far. We all know, we all know you're not going to get very far. And off he goes, and next there is an incident with the dog bowl and the dog and the fish tank. That doesn't go particularly well. And all sorts of things. Oh, a mouse trap, a fan. And eventually, what happens? Oh, the toaster, which doesn't look... Ow! Cried the pea. My bottom's on fire. As he flew straight on into the tumbling dryer. Getting worse and worse and worse-er. And the iron. And eventually, where do all runaway peas end up, Ken?
In the pot?
No. Under the fridge. And he quizzes the things that he finds under there because there's a dried up banana and 2 mouldy grapes. We were naughty, they said. We all ran away too. We don't recommend it, they whimpered quite sadly. You'll get old and wrinkled and start to smell badly. This
sounds like an old man.
Everybody's future.
Yes.
But it does have a brilliantly happy ending in that he gets scooped up, someone cleans up from underneath the fridge and chucked on the compost heap, and look, he grows into a pea plant with lots of baby peas.
How nice is that?
That's a lovely happy ending.
And I love those, as you're going through that book, I just happened to notice that it's like the old Batman comics, they had biff, bang, pow.
Splash, twang, bang,
and
absolutely.
You've got all those, they're great.
Yeah, lots of onomatopoeic words.
Is that what they call them?
Yes.
Who would know that?
Me. The kind of nerd I am would know
yes,
that.
That's right.
Yeah.
What are some of your hobbies?
Yeah.
Our next book's called Evie and the Animals.
This is by Matt Haig, and he is a wonderful writer. He always deals with what it is to be a human being, and he's suffered greatly from anxiety and depression, and he's written books on that as well. So he always comes back to like, what makes us human. He's always trying to scratch at it and see what makes us different. But in this one, it's a chapter book for children of probably about 8 or 9. Does have some darkness in it though, so it's, we don't want to be shielding children from everything. Sure. They have to meet demons in books. And this one is about Evie, and she has a talent. She can speak to animals. Not necessarily, she doesn't have to do it out loud. She could just look at an animal, hear its thoughts, and communicate back to it telepathically. Wow. So she has this skill. But her father, when he realises that she's got this talent, tells her to suppress it. It can come to no good. You mustn't do it. You mustn't do it. And that's to do with her mother, who died many years ago, and something to do with her grandmother, who also has this talent and goes everywhere with this really old iguana who Evie can't communicate with. This animal is too dense and wise, and she cannot communicate with the iguana. Long story short, just to give you an idea of where it goes, there was a dark reason that Evie's mother is no longer with them. And that was something to do with her conservation work in the Amazon with the father, and when Evie was a toddler. And she has these dreams that aren't really dreams. They are bits of her past coming back to her. And there is a dark person in there called Mortimer J. Mortimer, who can also communicate with animals, but he's clearly using it for bad. Oh, right. So everything obviously will tie up together at some point. But it is just beautiful the way that she can communicate with the animals, and the things like, she meets a dog, and dogs just go around going, life is good, until something happens, and then it's not. They're the ultimate in mindful creatures. So it's just a really fascinating read. But again, with Mortimer J. Mortimer, there is some darkness there.
Yes, it's got a bit of a twist in it.
Got several twists, and very, very readable. So yeah, 8 to probably 12.
Is that the sort of power you'd like to have, to be able to read people's minds?
Oh no, wouldn't that be just
awful? Wouldn't it? Because you don't know what they really thought of you. Ooh, I wouldn't have any friends.
And all the other weird thoughts that go off in people's heads that you should not know. Inside thoughts for a reason.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What if I do have that power, Ken?
You might have it. Better keep my head straight.
That's going to keep you thinking today.
Tell us about our last book, which is called Foe.
Foe by Ian Reid. It's a grown-up novel, and it is weird and strange and compelling. So on the front there it says, "We don't get visitors, not out here, we never have." You know, ooh, obviously they're going to get a visitor. So you've got Junior and Henrietta, and they live right out in the middle of nowhere, and you feel it's not explained at all. There's a lot of, you just have to trust the author and go with it in this novel. So you feel like it's probably in the future, near future, where we've had some kind of event, and everything runs a bit differently. And so Junior goes to work at the where does he work? He's got chickens, and he goes to work at some boxing up stuff factory, and Henrietta goes to work somewhere, but then they come back and they don't socialise, and they're out on their own on this, farm, really. And one night they see green headlights coming, and nobody ever has visited them. So they're like,
wow.
What is this all about? And there's this very chipper man comes to the door and says, "Junior, we have this amazing opportunity for you." And they want to send him into space. He's in this lotto, and it's supposed to be this amazing opportunity. He's like, "Well, I don't want to go to space. I quite like living here with my wife, and, we're really happy here." And so this guy then says, "Well, this is going to happen, and you're in the lotto, and I'll come back in a couple of years and tell you how we're getting on." So he's got this awful thing hanging over him for a couple of years, and the dude comes back, and it's just about training him then and interviewing him. And the thing is with Junior, though, he doesn't seem to be, he's got really sort of we've got a hazy grip on his life before he met Henrietta. We see how he met her, but then there's not a lot from before that.
Yes.
So you're like, what is going on there? Is
Another
it a memory
life.
thing? Is it
Yes.
another life? What is it? And it all comes together, and there are just some really creepy twists and turns in it.
Sounds like a gripping story.
It is a really good one, but almost sort of slightly sci-fi. Yeah.
I thought it might be. Does it have a good ending?
Has a really interesting ending that you may or may not see coming, depending on what kind of a reader you are.
Out of 10, what would you rate it?
It's a good 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And available right now at either of your stores, which are where?
We are 16 Tomato Road in Havelock North and 44 Hastings Street in Napier.
Good on you, Lou. As always, our pleasure. You look after yourself. Talk to same time, same place next time.
Cheers, Ken.